Hey, what's up? Today I want to share my experience and review for the Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds expansion and should you play it. Now I have to say that I've been playing Guild Wars 2 since the beginning and I was there on launch day in 2012, and since then I've been playing on and off pretty much all expansion, and the only expansion that I haven't played is the last one, which is Secrets of the Obscure. And so I purchased it when it came out, but at that time I had higher priorities. I had other priorities, so I haven't played that one. And you see, one thing that I really love about Guild Wars 2 is that I don't have to worry about the content and the gear getting outdated, because I can always come back in and go right in, so I really like that. And so in the last days, I've been playing Janthir Wilds, and basically I finished the story. I unlocked the Ascended Spear. I explored 100% of the 2 maps, and I unlocked some masteries, not all of them, but I unlocked some of them. And so the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the Warclaw. And basically the Warclaw is the mount that was previously available in World vs. World. And the difference here is that this mount is now available as a normal mount that you can use pretty much anywhere. And this mount here has its own abilities and perks. And so I really love what they did with the Warclaw and how this mount is helping us in our journey. And so for example, we use the Warclaw to put down some trees, and we also use the Warclaw to entangle some enemies to attack them. And also we get to sniff and uncover clues and treasures around some maps. And I really like that. I found that so cool and original, and it just felt like our mount was necessary to help us complete the mission. And the Warclaw also has its own mastery, and so you can unlock cool features like remove fall damage and the double jump, which can be useful because these new maps have lots of mountains, so you might be able to climb or you might be able to fall down without any problem. And so overall, I find the mount pretty interesting for the stories and some of these events. But other than that, as of right now, I don't see myself using it that much. And so for example, if you have done all the quests and all the story, and then you're left with the open world map, then I don't see myself using it that much so far. Maybe I need to unlock more masteries. And as of right now, the sky scale still remains undefeated. So maybe what ArenaNet could do is simply add more treasures in the map, so that it requires more sniffing, or maybe some blocking passages, or maybe putting down some walls with some chains. And so those are just different ideas. Another feature that I was excited about is the homestead. And so before that, we had the home instance where we were able to have some sort of nodes and collect them every day. And now personally, I don't have many of these nodes, but I was happy to see these nodes and these chests in my homestead. That being said, I did unlock all the masteries related to the homestead, but as of right now, I still don't understand everything that they do. And so they unlock different vendors, and they unlock different features, and I still have to learn how these things work. And so I'm gonna need more time to learn into these. And so on launch, there are 2 maps that are made available. There's the Lowland Shore and the Centrier Sentry. And so at first I thought it was a little bit small, and I expected a little bit more than simply 2 maps. But after exploring them, I was quite astonished about the quality of those maps. And so these maps, they include so many different terrains, mountains, creatures, events. It just feels like there's so much within these 2 maps. In particular, one area that I really like is this shore with some massive dinosaur corpses or whatever, and so I just thought that was really cool. And also, if we look at the roadmap, it says here that more maps should be released in the future, so I think this is pretty cool. And when you're done with the story and you have explored the 2 maps, you're basically left with a lot of experiences to gain, and you also have a bunch of mastery points that you probably collected. And once you're done with these things, many people are choosing to grind XP by farming events around the map to simply finish and train XP for the masteries. One good way to do it is an event from Ecto, where you basically spawn a bunch of spirits and you just basically everything that moves. And so if you're looking to farm XP for your masteries and training XP, then this is probably the right way to go. I don't know if this event was intended, but if you do these within a squad or something, it's basically an XP fest. Also related to events, I also found that a few collecting events were pretty similar, and so there are a bunch of events where you have to collect plants and meats or whatever, and so to me it seemed a little bit boring and repetitive. Another cool thing about this expansion is the spear. There are no new professions, there are no new elite specialization, and so instead what we get is that every class gets a brand new weapon, which is the spear. I mean, I say new, but it's not entirely new because spears have been there all along. It's been an underwater weapon, but now all classes can now use the spear as a normal weapon. And so in my case, I'm playing a thief, and this weapon is quite new and very different. And so first of all, the auto attack is quite dependent on the distance of your enemy, and so if you're close to your enemy, then you're going to use the spear to attack the enemy. But if you're at a distance and you're more far away, then you actually shoot the spear. And so it's kind of hybrid and dynamic, and so depending on your distance, you can attack at kind of any range, if that makes sense. Another dynamic for thieves is that some skills seem to be grouped together, and so there's a bunch of combos, and so there's the lead attack, and then after the lead attack you have a follow-up attack, and then finally you have a finisher attack. But when you progress with these attacks, you can choose which skills you want to use, which allows you to have different combos. And on top of that, thieves now have a skill that is both a heal and a block that is entirely off cooldown. And so obviously this skill needs initiatives, which is the thieves resources, but I just think that it's quite cheap and it can be a little bit interesting to use, but it's a little bit hard to time properly as well. Now about the price, one good thing that I like about Guild Wars 2 is their business model and pricing. Guild Wars 2 never felt pay to win for me, and so I bought the expansion for a one-time fee of $25 without needing a subscription to play it. And so if you compare it to other games like World of Warcraft, where you actually need to purchase the game, the expansion, for $70 plus a subscription, I just think that it is very reasonable and it is a very good game. Now on the bad side, I had a few bugs and problems that made my experience a little bit bad. And so the first thing that I had is that I had a story quest in Lowland about closing rifts using the Art of the Obscure, which is some sort of item that you're supposed to have. And so in my case, I was not able to find rifts and I was not able to do the quest. And so I don't know if it's because I haven't played the last expansion about the Secrets of the Obscure, and so because I didn't play that expansion, maybe I was not able to close rifts with the Heart of the Obscure. And so in my case, I was not able to do the quest, and so what I had to do is that I had to find people and group up with people that actually managed to make it work. And so I don't know if they did something special or if they had a special item, or maybe that's because they played the last expansion, but some people were able to open the rifts, and because of that I simply joined them and I was able to do the story. But this bug here, it actually happened to many people, and I know that in the map chat there were actually a bunch of people talking about it, and so many people group up with these people to do the quest. Another thing that happened to me at the very beginning, at the launch, is that I experienced an event that was not working properly, and so I think I had to collect and deliver animals to some sort of barn. But I was able to collect them, but I was not able to deliver them to the place that I needed to drop them. And so that was a problem, because that was literally one of the first area, and there were a lot of people there that were trying to do this event, but it was simply not working. And so after a while, I simply ignored it, and the event failed, and we just moved on, I guess. And finally, another thing that happened to me is that at some point I was exploring the map or something, and then I did have a crash and I did have a rollback. I don't know if that happened to other people, but I was working on something and then my game completely logged off. I crashed, and so I had to close the game and reopen the game. And when I reopened the game, I actually lost some progress. I mean, it was not that big of a deal. I mean, maybe I lost like something like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but it's something that happened. And so here it happened to me, but I don't know if it happened to other people. In my case, I know that I'm using Linux here, the Linux operating system, and I'm using compatibility tools because I'm not on Windows. And so because of that, I might expect some problems from time to time, I guess. But so I crashed once, but it only happened once, and that was fine, I guess. Now, these things are pretty common when new games are being released or some expansions are happening, because you never know what is going to happen when new content is going to release, new features are released, and everybody is using the same servers or whatever. And so you never quite know all these things. And so I'm not really mad about these things, and usually after a few days, all these bugs are pretty solved and fixed. And so in the end, the Janthir expansion was exactly what I expected from ArenaNet, and I just think it's a really good piece of content. And compared to World of Warcraft, where every expansion feels literally kind of like a new game, what I love about Guild Wars 2 is that every expansion actually feels like an expansion. Because when I come back to Guild Wars, when I take a break or whatever, and when I come back, everything feels the same. I don't have to learn new crazy gimmicks. Everything is pretty much the same, and so I just get to go into the great quality content that they're creating, and I just think that their content that they're releasing is always great. And yes, sometimes you get a bunch of issues and bugs at launch, but I'm assuming that these little problems here usually get fixed over time. And so yes, I did experience a bunch of bugs and issues at launch, but I'm assuming that most of these things have probably been fixed or will be fixed, because since launch I think they released a few new builds, so I'm assuming that all of these are fixed. So that's pretty much it for this video, and I hope that this video was helpful to you. If this video was valuable to you, you could consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. And if you have any thoughts or comments, you can leave them below, because I will answer everything, and your thoughts and comments could be valuable to other people. So that's pretty much it. Peace.